People getting tired of sitting at home at night. They want to get out, and the drive-in is the place to go.
The drive-in's about anything you want. Someplace that's outrageous and fun all the time. There's always something new going on. It's not just a film.
I always loved the drive-ins. Drive-ins have been my favorite thing. Even when I was a little kid, my first memory of going to a movie when I was a child was my parents taking me to a drive-in.
Let's turn this thing into what it should be, a shining beacon of American pop culture that once existed. We're attempting to recreate an all but forgotten era of popular cultural history, a part of our cinematic legacy.
It's the end of an era, a final and nostalgic farewell to the old Star-Lite Drive-in Winter Garden.
Well, most of us can remember the first time we saw a movie in a drive-in theater.
Been a while back. They are, of course, a dying breed, and tonight there was one last attempt to save Central Florida's last drive-in, the Star-Lite. The meeting was in the mayor of Ocoee's living room.
At the worst scenario, which is what they said they would go for.
$200,000. That's how much it would cost to save Central Florida's last drive-in theater. Through Mayor Scott Vandergrift's leadership, the folks of Ocoee were able to raise over $9,000 in 30 days to help save the Star-Lite Drive-in Theater. But it wasn't enough, and now the mayor's trying to convince a group of investors to pitch in.
Mayor, how much time do we have?
I'm looking at the end of the week. S.O.S. is a non-profit organization that has been set up to raise funds, operate the theater, do anything that we can to get money in to be sure that we can preserve the last drive-in theater that's operating within Orange County or 60 miles from Central Florida. It came about basically when I discovered that they were going to close down the drive-in. It was up for sale, and an awful lot of people called me and said, well, let's keep it open. And a week later, I found myself in the drive-in business, and we got 30-day reprieve to raise enough funds to try and save it. We fell short of that, and so in other negotiations, we were able to get them to say, okay, you can stay open until we sell it or until you're able to buy it. And so that's where we're operating from right now.
S.O.S. was formed back in May as a grassroots organization whose purpose was to try to save and restore the Star-Lite Drive-In. This is the last drive-in theater in Central Florida, and we felt from the very beginning that this is a rare, colorful, and endangered part of our popular cultural history that I felt very strongly should be preserved. When I came out to the drive-in the first weekend I was here, and I looked up on that screen and I saw John Wayne in The Searchers, and realized that this might be the last time I would see that up on that big screen. I got a lump in my throat, and I said, I won't be able to rest unless I do whatever I can do to save this place.
I got involved into this place in a band that I'm occasionally in called the Vodcats. I understood that they were having bands here at the time, and so I got involved in that. It snowballed into where my girlfriend and I are a large part of the staff. We are S.O.S. essentially. It's a group the mayor started back when the axe was first being sharpened over the Star-Lite's mighty brow, and it got an incredible amount of response originally, and thus we're able to keep this drive-in, and its support has, like any other organization, it gradually fritters away, but we're still a very strong core, like people getting together. Again, there's generally about 6 of us that are actively involved. One of us actually full-time, in which his entire life is based around doing it. The rest of us unfortunately have jobs that we have to attend to.
We got involved with this. Aaron's band had been asked to play. I was unemployed at the time, and I decided to volunteer my time, and the rest is history. It's all consuming. It really takes a lot of time. A lot of people want to help, you know, and a lot of people don't have a lot of extra time. We've been devoting a lot of our extra time doing this, and it's a lot of fun.
When I read about mayor and his effort to save the drive-in. It's just something I had to get involved in. It was the last drive-in left in Central Florida. They were making a good effort to keep it open, and I said, this is something I had to get involved in. It's a shame. This is a great place, and it's really historical, and it would be a shame to see it torn down and be made into condos or an industrial building or something that's just without character.
I've been a projectionist here at the Star-Lite Theater ever since 1968. Matter of fact, I used to live here before I got married back in '68. I met my wife here also, and I've been associated with this theater ever since. I was a projectionist, or my uncle was a projectionist at the time, and I was just hung out with my uncle up here at night, and she was just a customer that I'd met up here. And we started dating, and 2 or 3 years later we got married, and here we are now, grandparents. I brought my children here as is growing up, and they've even worked here as teenagers for Mr. Peavey.
Thelbert Franklin Peavey. I managed the Star-Lite Theater in Winter Garden for 33 years out here. My wife helped me, my daughter helped me, and James helped me, and his wife helped me, and his mother-in-law helped me, and his 2 daughters helped me. It's kind of like a family drive-in operation.
I enjoyed my time at the theater here all the time, and the people enjoyed it, and I think everybody liked me too, and so that made me feel a lot better.
My experiences with the drive-in theater dates way back into the mid-50s. I mean, some of my greatest and happiest moments was with the family, my father, mother, and a brother, and going out to a drive-in theater in our pajamas. I think that was a classic. Going to see The Nutty Professor, I remember that very, very vividly. I think that was 1961 or 62, though. And going to the playground, playing on the swings, meeting your friends there, and then being lifted up on the hood of the car with a pillow, watching a Woody Woodpecker cartoon, and then disappearing. I don't remember the movie because I fell asleep on the car, but it was it's such a vivid memory of a good time, a time that I think we all want to get back to.
Your attention, please. If you're leaving the theater, please hang your speaker on the speaker stand before starting your car. Don't take chances on accidents which may damage your car. If you accidentally tear off your speaker, please don't be frightened. Simply turn it in. There is no charge for reinstalling speakers. Thank you.
Nostalgia is part of the reason they come here. Another reason is some of the clubs are trying to assist in saving the Star-Lite. So I guess I saw it on the news, they closed the Weimar, and then they were talking about closing this one, and I just couldn't see that.
There is a strong growing interest in nostalgia. And it's kind of like the Field of Dreams. It's like the movie Kevin Costner played a farmer who cleared a cornfield to build a baseball diamond in the middle of nowhere. For all of us, the people running it and the guests, this is kind of our Field of Dreams. We haven't had to build it because it was already here. We didn't have to plow down a cornfield. We do have 7 acres of grass to mow. And I think people are hungry for a return to a simpler time. And with the unsophisticated films that typically showed at the drive-ins, it was an unsophisticated form of entertainment that was great fun and social. And one of the things that we want to do is get people out of their cars and up watching the shows and mingling.